everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil to one Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I... This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil to one Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real and that's a big deal. I'm singing from my heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Welcome to...
Good morning, guys, and welcome down to Livewire. Please help me share the live. If you're on here right now, share the live, so we can get the message out there. Morning to all the persons on the live already. Pam Singh, Soma Bispat, Persad Patti, Keith Adams, Derek Joseph, Jasmine Baldio, Datanandalal, Tracy Martindale, always locked on, Carla Thomas, Jamil Kayum. Morning to all you guys who are here already. Prem Prasad, Takur Bejlal, Joe Nabijan, all logged in. Neil Ramlukan from NYC, Joe Nabijan from Canada in the house. And, we're going to have a great morning this morning. Yesterday, we had the press conference of the General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic, and Dr. Jagdeo touched on quite a few issues currently in the mainstream here in Guyana, City Hall, and quite a few other things. Now, today, we're going to be dealing with a few things. First of all, I'd like to share a news story with you guys and give you a clear idea of how careful you need to be when you are taking in news disseminated from some of these mainstream media houses. Now, persons would have thought that, morning to Sherman Siram, Cecil Rampasad, Chitra Sukraj. Now, one would have thought, or it is often put out there, that the mainstream media, the newspapers, the TV stations, the radio stations, those are the credible sources of information, right? And even at the General Secretary's press conference yesterday, he would have highlighted that one of the main media houses in Guyana that has been established for some time. Its proprietor often engages in spreading misinformation about things that he often knows nothing about. So we heard yesterday, as the General Secretary was going through a list of news articles highlighting the global warming phenomenon that is happening across the world, affecting countries across the world, Asia, Europe, United States, everywhere is complaining about global warming. But here in Guyana, our our expert on global warming and heat and El Nino, oil and gas, and so many other things, Mr. Lal is claiming that this is because of flaring and the dumping of hot water into the ocean. Now, the General Secretary would have cleared up that there was no flaring happening and wondered if we needed to rubbish all these scientific minds who would have come up with the reasoning behind global warming. Nevertheless, like I said, I wanted to share a news report I saw with you, which I found to be very misleading. And again, like I said, you need to watch how you are believing information, even if it's coming from mainstream media outlets, right? So guys, again, please share the live with me. We started a little late this morning, and I want to encourage you guys before we start to support these local businesses that are supporting Livewire, 592 Tech Vision, G. Rubis down there at Merriman's Mall, Shepherd's Cleaning, Jacob's Jewelry at Pike Street, Kitty there, King Kong Construction, Kings and Queen Barbecue. Please support those businesses because they support us to keep us here with you every morning, Monday to Friday, bringing you the information so that you are not misled, by persons in the opposition or persons sympathetic to the opposition, misled by information being put out by them. Now, I worked at Territorial News for a very short period of time. I don't think it lasted more than 3 months. I resigned from that environment due to the toxicity. It was highly toxic. I'm going to try to say toxicity. I tried it, right? But the environment wasn't conducive for working. And if your stories did not fit a certain narrative, it was held to get them to be published. I would even tell y'all here, and I think I mentioned it before, that if it wasn't something sensational about corruption or crime or death or something like that, you had a hard time presenting a story. You felt intimidated because you would sit in a muster and get lambasted by Glenn Lal, right? Trying to make you feel like you're incompetent because you are not finding things to excite the Guyanese population to put in his newspaper to excite the Guyanese population. And it's not Glenn Lal alone. He has persons around him who are helping him to do this foolishness, right? Now, y'all will remember, morning Eunice, I woke up late as well, so we in the same boat. And Miss Ram Charan, morning to you as well. So, y'all remember Adam Harris had resigned from Territorial News? Now he's back there. I guess whatever issue he and Glenn Lal had, they resolved it. But those two are a team. They're very close. They're very fond of each other. And Glenn Lal is a guy that I've seen this while I worked there. I've heard this from persons who've worked there and left. that he puts you in a position where he has his hook in you, right? So he can build a house for you, he can buy a car for you or something like that. So you feel indebted to him and you're hooked into Kite News. You can't leave and go anywhere. You understand? So you see that Kia that Adam Harris driving? Gift from Glenn Lal, right? Over $5 million to one of them things. A gift from Glenn Lal. You understand me? So let me take you to a news report done by Adam Harris, and let me show you how dishonest, disingenuous, critic left there too, disingenuous and misleading Adam Harris can be as well. So somebody said it here in the comments, Soma, Adam and Glenn, two peas in a pod. So let's look at this article and let me show you how misleading Adam Harris can be.
This consternation over the $865 million pump contract awarded to a company with which Michael Rodriguez, known as Guyana Critic, is a prime member. The contract is for the construction of a pump station at Bellevue, West Mantamararo. The company, Territorial Group, was formed last year. It therefore didn't satisfy the 3-year requirement for the award of a contract.
All right, there off the bat, right? Adam Harris is well aware. Well, first of all, y'all heard him say this company, Territorial Group, didn't satisfy the 3-year requirement for government contracts. Adam Harris is well aware that the PPPC government removed that 3-year requirement so that smaller contractors and new contractors were able to enter the game, were able to be viable and to bid with these companies who have been bidding for contracts for years, well-established companies. It was a more level playing field. This was implemented by the PPPC administration. So oftentimes you hear me say we have more Afro contractors than ever before. Now, this is because of the PPP administration making it easier for contractors by not having them be required to have 3 years experience or be in operation for 3 years before they could bid on government contracts, right? That has been established.
Today, advisor to opposition leader Elson Lowe described the award as the continuing award of contracts.
On a side note, we know Elson Lowe head top into right, but we listening to
friends and favorites of the ruling People's Progressive Party.
RMP David Patterson noted that this.
So right there, gonna stop. He called David Patterson name. And before he called David Patterson name, Adam Harris talk about friends and favorite. Where was the report from Adam Harris when the same David Patterson sole sourced the feasibility study for the 3-lane Demerara River crossing that he took to Parliament, directly to Parliament? Where was Adam Harris to do a news story on that? Right? Where was Elson Lowe to say, hey, David Patterson didn't go through the right process for this feasibility study and paying for this feasibility study? Where was Adam Harris, or where is Adam Harris currently? Right? Adam Harris is running down to Territorial Group, a company that is established in terms of since their start date, they have executed several contracts and completed them. They have equipment, they have personnel with expertise. Where was Elson Lowe, right, when Patterson paid 100% for scales that we have not received as yet? Why isn't Adam Harris doing a news story on that? How much money we've lost in relation to that? We ain't recuperate yet. And Adam Harris could talk about friends and favorite. Wasn't the man who purchased the scales that was paid 100% for them and in delivered them yet? Didn't he assist the coalition in their campaign? Is that not a friend? Couldn't that be deemed as a favorite? Shame on you, Adam Harris. Shame on you as a senior journalist in this country that a lot of young reporters respect. Shame on you, sir, for misrepresenting what is going on. Please behave alive. Right. So shame on you, sir. Shame on you.
This company did not meet the minimum experience criteria set out in the procurement rules.
No, first of all, before I move on with this here, let me show y'all something. Now, I did mention before, and you heard the Vice President say it, you heard Minister Edgel say it, you heard Minister Indar say it, that government remove this requirement. You understand me? So that these new contractors are on a level playing field. They are more eligible to win contracts without this requirement. Now, y'all could guess who put forward such a requirement or made a suggestion that we move away from this, having this company be established for a certain amount of years. This is the barefacedness of the coalition, the PNC. People like Elson Lowe, people like Aubrey Norton, people like Ganesh Mahipal will sit at a press conference and blatantly mislead the Guyanese people. Now look at this. Right? Look at this. This is an article from October 9, 2016. From the same newspaper, right? From the same newspaper that this reporter who's reporting for 9 News, Break News, or whatever it is called, the same newspaper he's working for, or worked for at this time, October 9th, 2016, Adam Harris was in the employ of the Territorial News, right? October 9, 2016, Adam Harris was an employee of Territorial News. And I'm trying to make it as big as possible so that y'all can see, right? Adam Harris is one of the biggest hypocrites I've found. He and the Guyanese hypocrite, Annette Ferguson, could shake hands. Now let's go through this news article that Adam Harris, as the editor-in-chief of the Territorial News, would have had to vet and allow to pass through. You understand? For it to be printed. So Adam Harris is very clear. You understand me? Adam Harris is very clear in relation to how this whole idea of moving this requirement for new contractors came about. Now, let me read for y'all a little bit. So the coalition government plans to create a level playing field for new entrants into the bidding process for government contracts. For more than 20 years, contractors without 3 years experience on government contracts were at a disadvantage. Who tell me this, people? This was disclosed by Basil Williams, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, at the party's weekly press conference. So just like Elson Lowe talking foolishness here, Basil Williams was speaking about this at a weekly press conference of the then government when the coalition was in office. So this was an idea of the coalition that they couldn't implement, that they are now coming back to say has been implemented for the purpose of friends, family, and favorites. You understand? For the purpose of friends, family, and favorites. That's the dishonesty of these people. When they knew, nobody could tell me Elson Lowe didn't know that this was an initiative put forward by the coalition that they could not implement. Right? Williams added that upon entering government, the coalition inherited rules that would make it difficult for new companies to win bids for government contracts. This, he said, was because of numerous requirements they would have to meet before companies can even apply to bid. One of these, the AG said, is the requirement that the company must have at least 3 years experience in the award and execution of contracts. There is also a requirement for the company that the company must have executed a contract in excess of above a certain monetary value, right? So I wanted to share that with you. I wanted to share that with you so that you don't feel that
this matter to the attention of the public.
It was something that was conceptualized wholly and solely by the PPP. This was an initiative put forward by the coalition. The coalition could not implement this initiative. They could not implement the initiative. The PPPC administration came in, and guys, Ajay Chatterpal, Soma, Cecil, Paul, Joseph, guys, please share the live for me. Lash PA, please share the live for me. Please share the live and give me a like. Neil Ramlukan, Becky, Jasmine, Sally Jones, please share the live for me and give me a like. Kesundat, Lola Hari, Neil Ramlukan, y'all share the live, man. Because we have to let people see this and know this. Glenn Lal, Adam Harris, and the whole PNC cabal is trouble. It's trouble. Imagine they brought up an idea since 2016. Couldn't implement it up to 2020 when the Guyanese kicked them out of office. And now turn around because this government implemented what they couldn't have. To abuse the government about it. Really? Same thing with the synthetic track. One big beautiful plan couldn't execute. The PPP had to come in now and finish that synthetic track. Do over the Mackenzie Sports Club ground. Stanley Hamilton, morning to you, brother. I ain't see you here in a long while. Welcome. Right? Dave, morning to you. So Elson Lowe, Adam Harris, Glenn Lal, y'all need to look within. Look within the coalition to ridicule for foolishness. You hear me? This was an idea that was brought up by you guys that you could not implement. The PPP did it. Now Afro-Guyanese contractors are benefiting more. Amerindian contractors are benefiting more. Small Indo-Guyanese contractors are benefiting more. The little half-skull Podigi man critic benefiting now. Is critic not a Guyanese? Why critic can't establish a company and bid for contracts? Look how many instances in the past administration they had allegations of the bypassing of the procurement process by the coalition government. Now this worries Elson Lowe to sit down here to talk and reference David Patterson as somebody who calling out corruption. David Patterson should only be mentioned in circles with high acidic urine. Highly acidic urine. That's the only time people need to mention David Patterson. The Guyanese hypocrite, Annette Ferguson, right, should not, as well as a former infrastructure minister, should not be speaking on corruption, public works, roads, bridges, or any CGIA, anything of the sort. Anything of the sort. They should be ashamed. I heard the Guyanese hypocrite was also talking about the bonus and the increases that the president spoke of in relation to teachers, it shows you the lack of understanding of these people. And these people want to lead Guyanese. When they had the opportunity to lead, what did they do? Were Guyanese left with a bitter taste in their mouth? Huh? Or were Guyanese tasting the milk and honey of the coalition's tenure in office? Bitterness. Bitterness. You hear me? It was so bitter you think you're getting a clean out for the 5 years. People thought they was getting porridge out for 5 years under the coalition. How it is so bitter? You understand? Centerpart sales, Cascaro, them sales went down during the 5 years of the coalition because it was so bitter. People had to clean out themselves. The bitterness in people's mouth used to keep the bodies cleaning during the coalition. That's how hard it had. And suffer people used to suffer. You understand?
The Procurement Commission. After the Commission decided to investigate this award, they were denied the relevant information by the National Procurement and Tender
Lies. 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 Total misrepresentation of the facts.
Administration Board.
Lowe described the act by the Tender Administration Board as a shocking act of obstruction. He said that the Public Procurement Commission is a constitutional body legally entitled to access documents relating to matters of procurement.
Denying this commission has not only undermined Guyana's institutions, it has raised the public's suspicion even further.
The public suspicion could not be raised further than the missing SOPs. Right? There's nothing that could raise public suspicion higher than the missing SOPs. Right? Anytime people see our face, that's the first thing that they see. Missing SOPs across your face. And that's the only thing the public concern raised over. You think Guyanese people upset that Guyanese people getting contracts? Well, they might got a few. But you think the general public is upset that their fellow Guyanese getting contracts to employ Guyanese so that money could be spent in Guyanese communities, so that Guyanese business owners could supply these companies with materials and whatever it is? Y'all really think so? Y'all really think so? And this is what is saddening about this party. How could this be the strategy or the lead up to the strategy to win in 2025? Like how are persons, level-headed Guyanese who are a part of this party, sitting down listening to the rhetoric coming from this party, and they are like, yes, this is what will take us into office in 2025. Right? If criticizing for criticizing's sake was a person, it would be the PNC. Y'all realize when you do something for so long, you become a master at it. Now, these people have been opposing for so long that to oppose comes so naturally. So whether it's benefiting Guyanese or not, whether it's in the interest of the youths of Guyana, whether it's in the interest of the elderly of Guyana, you understand? They don't care. They will just oppose it. Now, the removal of this 3-year requirement, even if you want to say, Elson, that it has caused harm, I'm saying it has done more good than harm. Because at the end of the day, you do not have any evidence to say that the Tupui group was unqualified to win the bid. That's the first thing. Or you haven't presented anything of that nature. Secondly, this removal of this 3-year requirement has allowed many more Guyanese to get on board. How is that a bad thing? How is that a bad thing? How is that a bad thing? Guyanese benefiting from Guyanese resources and helping to build a country. How is that a bad thing? So, y'all watch it with Adam. Y'all watch it with Adam. Adam is selectively blind and he selectively hears about corruption, allegations of corruption. And before Adam Harris could sit and do a news story like this, Adam Harris needs to focus in on Cathy Hughes and the large sums of money she used to take out with her on the outreach. He needs to focus in on David Patterson and the many allegations of corruption. Right? From the Harbor Bridge to the China trip, to the goal that he getting, to the scales. Oh gosh, Patterson, to the people fence you piss on. You got a plethora of things we need to look into. Behavior unbecoming of a member of parliament, that kind of thing. That's what Adam Harris need to look into. Is this how we want our leaders to portray themselves to the youth of Guyana? The people in high school, who are coming up, the people at the University of Guyana or private universities here now or on the Gold program, looking at their members of parliament. Let's say they're highly Afrocentric and they want to support just because they got the same skin color, right? That is the kind of behavior you want them to emulate. A David Patterson, a Annette Ferguson, a Sherrod Duncan, Maureen Philadelphia. House slave! You're a house slave! You're a house slave! That's the behavior I want them to emulate. Okay. Anyway, I ain't gonna bother with the comments. But is that the behavior you want to see emulated? And it Ferguson fighting in parliament and blocking up the mace? No, Paul, I don't know exactly what the Courdel. I don't think the opposition or anyone else have a problem with Guyanese getting contracts. What everyone is saying, it's the way the contracts are being awarded. How are they being awarded, Paul? Shed some light. Shed some light with me, Paul, on how they're being awarded. I'm waiting to see in the comments there. You shed some light. But as I was saying to y'all, is that how we want to see our MPs? No, at least not me. I don't want whenever I get children, to emulate anything they see coming from the opposition. Because the opposition shows, one, they're never prepared for any argument that they're coming to make. Never has evidence, facts, documentation to back up whatever allegations that they want to make. They just come through something in the air and hope it land on somebody. You understand? It's literally like in Congress Place. They take some shit, throw it up at the fan, and wherever the shit hit, when the shit hit the fan, wherever the shit spill on, that's it. And I think that is the wrong approach by the PNC. You all need to be more factual in the dissemination of your information and not mislead people. Now, let's bounce over to City Hall here for a while. Now, the PVPC councillors would have issued a response to an article in the Starbrook News, which basically made assertions that the government is withholding funds from City Hall The government should engage directly with residents and that kind of thing. But let me just give you a run through in relation to the take from these PPPC councillors as they sit on the council and they have a clear idea of what's happening in there. Now, the article the councillors highlighted had a misleading narrative. It had a misleading narrative. And it tried to emphasize a notion that central government is withholding resources for City Hall due to political affiliations, right? And this could be no further from the truth. There has always been a willingness from the central government to collaborate with City Hall for the betterment of the city. But if you are, everybody got a cousin or some family member who you won't trust with money, right? It's not that there's a bad person or they're going to steal it or anything, but probably they just don't have good money management skills. So they get a little money as soon as they get it done. That is literally what goes on with City Hall. You understand? No, it is no in relation to the financial mismanagement at City Hall. I must point out that substantial yearly revenues are received at City Hall in relation to taxes and fees. And I must also draw attention to the chronic mismanagement within City Hall. And one of the glaring events that recently occurred that would speak to mismanagement is the late submission of the 2023 budget. And that is along with the numerous financial scandals that take City Hall. So imagine for 2023, we are in November. There's one more month before the ending of 2023. They submit their budget for 2023 in September of 2023. Yeah, City Hall head could good. Mind you, they still don't want to allow PPPC councillors on certain committees. Mind you, the PPPC councillors don't have a voting an amount to influence the vote of City Hall. So all of this falls squarely on the boots of the PNC councillors. There's one PPPC councillor on the financial committee, dancing, Councillor Singh, and he literally has no say. His suggestions are not taken seriously. His requests for an update of the assets register of the council is not being taken seriously. So what are persons expecting these PPPC councillors to do if the organ that they work for is not allowing them to represent the persons who voted them into office? And the persons who have the majority on the council, they are not interested in putting forward initiatives to better the lives of the citizenry of Georgetown. I have to question whether the Saarbrück News has truly investigated City Hall's operations. I am really wondering, because the amount of allegations of corruption and misappropriation of funds that have come out of City Hall, I've not seen the articles translated in the papers. And again, I remind you, and I must highlight, the refusal to appoint PPPC councillors to key positions is evidence of exclusivity rather than inclusivity. So they're not interested in working together to better the city, working with these councillors, being bipartisan to move the city forward. They're just interested in trying to fleece the city as best as possible. And we heard about the lands that were being sold out before the LGE. We're hearing about this amnesty that they want to put forward, where persons come and sit down in a closed door setting and negotiate the amnesty. No, let it be public. Let it be a council decision. Let everybody know what's going on. Let everybody know which business in Josh, how much and how much you're getting right off, and how much you're going to actually pay to the council. We don't want a closed door operation. Now, let's look at the financial stewardship and transparency. I must stress the need for rigorous accountability and transparent governance and fiscal responsibility within the mayor and city council. Right? Now, we must focus on financial stewardship before we start discussing resource allocation. Why am I giving you funds if you can't manage these funds? You think if you take a loan from GBTI, right? You take a loan from GBTI Bank. GBTI give you $5 million to start a business. And you take this money and you ain't start no business, you don't buy no products, nothing. Spend the money, you don't pay back the loan thing. And you go to Republic Bank. You think Republic Bank will give you a loan? You got a good track record. You have to have a good track record. Republic Bank can give you no loan like that. You have to have a good track record. And City Hall under the management of the PNC does not have a good track record. Right? They do not have a good track record. City Hall can't pay the staff. They ain't collecting taxes. They can't manage the vendors at the market. They can't manage their own assets. They can't manage the city constabulary. And they want to talk about resource allocation and central government giving them money. Y'all can't even manage the money you're collecting yourself. You want people to give you more? Imagine the amount of money spent on the city of Georgetown just far through central government. And I want people to be honest with themselves. If that money was given directly to City Hall, do you think all those roads and drains in South Georgetown and Lane Avenue and the Boulevard and the Cemetery Road and Whitestone Street that they do and the streets in Sapphire and all these areas that they're doing work in the capital city, y'all think we would have seen this if central government had put this money in City Hall hands? I don't think so. I don't think so. City Hall has proven time and time again that they are unable to manage the funds. They are unable to manage the funds. Right? They're unable to manage the funds. No, there is a need for more investigative reporting. I'm challenging Stabrook News to ask hard-hitting questions about City Hall's operations, including the failure to update the city assets register since 2005. Why Stabrook News reporters aren't going to City Hall when it got sit-ins and asking these questions of these councillors? But they find it necessary to lambaste the government and claim that the government stifling City Hall of resources. I must question why there hasn't been any inquiry into critical issues like the outdated assets register and the delay in budget ratification. How is Starbrook News not interested in this? How is Starbrook News not interested in a 2023 budget that is presented in the last quarter of 2023? So what are those funds going to do? How City Hall been paying the staff at City Hall with no budget for the majority for 10 out of the 12 months of 2023? Where they was getting the money from? How are they accountable to say, well, this is our budget, this is where we're spending from, this is where the money is coming from? You understand? City Hall wilding. Now, I must also highlight the systematic disarray in the budgeting process. Right? I must highlight that. This budget that City Hall presented in September, months after the legal deadline. So currently, this budget that they presented is illegal. And is it the case that the PNC likes to operate in illegality? No, I must argue that without a ratified budget, audits, and an updated registered asset register list, it is imprudent to allocate taxpayers' funds to City Hall. Let City Hall use the rates and taxes that they pay. You understand me? To do what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, no matter how many times or how many responsibilities that fall under the purview of City Hall, when they don't do what they have to do, they turn around and they blame central government. Right? Now, let's look at the Local Government Act and compliance in relation to that. Now, I must point out that procedural requirements outlined in the Local Government Act, such as applying for a supplementary budget in the case of revenue shortfalls, none of these things are being used. I must argue also that the MNCC should explore alternative avenues of revenue generation, not solely rely on central government bailouts. And I've highlighted a few ways that these persons could generate funds. All those illegal vendors at Stabrook and Border Market there who are not in stalls or don't have spots that they are actually paying for, that a designated spot at the market, they're just on the roadside or something, regulate them. Regulate them. Charge them a fee for being out there. A fee that actually goes to the council, not a fee that the constabulary collecting or persons in the constabulary collecting. A fee that actually goes to the council. Right? Actually start finding the businesses that are dumping on Regent Street and not using the proper waste disposal, but then you got to have proper garbage collection too. So come back to y'all not doing what you're supposed to do at City Hall. Rebuild the flapping wharf behind Stabrook. Make it into a nice mall, something, and put some vendors in there to generate income. That kind of thing. Get a crew that persons holding events in Georgetown, like you got a concert at the National Park or whatever it is, that they do clean up. I think promoters have to do their own cleanup after. So you charge it as a fee. Y'all want to hold something in the city, after done, you got to pay City Hall to clean up the place, because City Hall can do it to their standard, not the promoter standard. And I hope City Hall raises its standards. That's an avenue for you to make money. Right? So, y'all need to do better. Listen to your PPPC counterparts. They have great ideas. They have great ideas. And I must stress the importance of holding City Hall accountable for its responsibilities. And I call on Starbrook News to demand answers and to conduct a thorough investigation in investigations to ensure journalistic integrity and fulfill their duty to the citizens of Georgetown and by extension Guyana as a whole. How could you look past all the indiscretions of City Hall and then just drop it on the government? You got to do better, Starbrook News. You have to do better. Now, finally, during the press conference yesterday of the General Secretary, he touched on the a strategy labeled as the APN News Development Strategy, labeling it as pathetic and lacking in substance, right? And highlighting that indeed this party has no plan to run this country. Now, we know that the APNU AFC has always been talking about this plan and that plan and what they're going to do and when they're going to do it, and they had this idea and they had that idea and they was about to implement it and all sorts of nonsense, right? All sorts of nonsense. I heard the GS talk about APNU planning to develop corn and soya in Guyana. It's already being done. Which country are living in? Which country are living in? It's already being done, right? It's already being done. They talk about oil and gas revenue and that kind of thing. We've seen the mismanagement or the signing bonus. And for the persons who will mention the 214 million, I maintain that the government's position is the position of GRA, and that money has not been written off. So unlike the 18 million US, there's no avenue for recovery. There was nobody that was reprimanded. Now Raphael Trotman got more balls than Aubrey Norton to step forward and say he's willing to help renegotiate contract and we need better contract. And you know, is it got more balls than Aubrey Norton? That's a great feat. And Raphael Trotman has exhibited that he has more. Because you have to have real testicular fortitude to come back to the Guyanese people after the fact, after you would have messed up the forest oil contract, after you would have set the terms of the Stabroek Block that Glenn Lallen and these people paying to protest, coming out in this hot El Nino weather, plainly protesting. These people for real? Are these people for real? Y'all talking? Listen, it's really hard to fathom sometimes the logic that the coalition brings to some of their arguments, right? It's really hard for me. Anyway, guys, we're running a little short on time. And I know we had a little late start. It was a big late start. But please remember to support local 592 Tech Vision for the surveillance camera installation, electrical works on your home, videography and photography service. G-Rubis Tektronix down there at Merriman's Mall for your cell phone, smartphone, tablet, PC repair and unlocking, AC, TV, repair, remotes. Please check out G-Rubis Tektronix there at the Merriman's Mall, and Cloth at Lot 7 David Rose Street, South Bromwell. Call the numbers on the screen or check them out at their social media platforms to see what's up with them. Male and female clothing, medical devices, electronics, and cosmetics available as well. King Kong Construction for all your construction needs. Give them a call on the number on the screen. I Secure Security Services for your armed, unarmed security, executive close protection, gun spa services, construction, and various supplies. For your cleaning, Shepherd's Cleaning Services, they have really great packages to you for locals and overseas-based Guyanese. Call them or email them on the address on the screen. And also, don't forget, Jacob's Jewelry, they're looking for an experienced goldsmith. And also, I'd like to encourage you guys to check out their showroom there at Lot 16 Pike Street, where you could have really exclusive pieces, lovely Guyanese gold. You don't have to worry about the quality down there at Jacob's Jewelry and Pawn Shop. So go down there and support, right? All right. Anyway, guys, that's all the time I have for today. I was really great being here with you. Y'all remember, take what these people say at Culture News and in the opposition with a grain of salt and do some research. Do some research. They love to mislead, misrepresent the facts. As a matter of fact, I don't think they know what that word is, facts. They don't know what that means. And I didn't even get to deal with Annette going on social media yesterday, trying to tell people that the 25% bonus is the only increase. The one-off bonus is the only increase that you're going to get for 2023. When the president said there will be more announcements in relation to percentage increase for public servants and those other employees who fall under that bracket. The Guyanese hypocrite, you're horrible. You are horrible, 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 horrible. The Guyanese hypocrite on it, Ferguson. I'm going to try hard to make that name stick on you, GH. You hear me? Hypocrite, hypocrite, hypocrite. Anyway, guys, see you here on Monday. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Please be safe out there on the roadways. No drinking and driving. Please do not run into none of we roundabout. Y'all gotta pay for it. Please hold a focus. Anyway, peace, love, one Guyana.
President Nicolas Maduro, known as Compañero Maduro, understand me clearly. Ese Kibo pertenece a Guyana.
Every inch of this territory belongs to us.
Ese Kibo pertenece a Guyana.
And I do believe we will make the reality of Dave Martin's song not one blade of grass.
As all Guyanese knows it, that Essequibo belongs to us. Salute to Guyana.
It is our land and nobody else's. Not a blade of grass.
This land, Guyana, is ours, and we as a people, no matter what our differences, must not quibble and hesitate. This is a matter of national importance as no other.
Not one Guyanese citizen will be given Venezuelan citizenship because Essequibo is our own.
All of Guyana is united in the fundamental premise that the Essequibo, which is the heartland, is 100% Guyanese.
We will not be afraid. We stand on principles. We stand on the right side of the law. Why should we be fearful? It is the Venezuelans who are fearful.
This Essequibo is ours. Every square inch of it, every square inch of it, every square inch of it.